You don't hate many people. In fact, Virgos rarely hate. You get irritated, yes. You get frustrated, of course. You lose your temper for sure. But hate? Hate is a strong word. It's a feeling you reserve, that you save, that you only feel when something inside you is violated so deeply that there's no going back. And there are exactly 3 types of people who can reach that level. 3 specific profiles that not only bother you, but that awaken in you a visceral rejection. Automatic, uncontrollable. And you already know who they are, don't you? You've felt it before. That repulsion that comes from somewhere deep inside. That you can't fully rationalize, but that's there. Pulsating, screaming, not this person. And today? Today you'll understand why. You'll understand what is violated inside you when you encounter these 3 types. And you'll understand why there's no possible negotiation, why there's no room for coexistence, why your body rejects them even before your mind processes them. Because it's not about preference, it's about survival. First type. The one who speaks beautifully but acts dirty. The hypocrite. The one who preaches one thing and lives another. Who looks you in the eye and swears to values they don't have. Who talks about honesty while lying. About loyalty while betraying. About integrity while selling themselves. And you? You feel it in your stomach. Literally. There's something in your body that detects falsehood before your mind confirms it. It's like radar. It's like a biological alarm system. And when does it go off? When you realize that the person in front of you is performing instead of being. Something dies. Right there. Any possibility of respect, any chance of real connection, any space for trust, it dies. Instantly. And it doesn't come back. Why for you? Integrity is not optional. It's not something you turn on and off depending on the audience. It's not a mask you wear when it suits you. It's foundation. It's the basis. It's the absolute minimum you expect from any human being. And when you find someone who doesn't have that, someone who is one person in public and another in private, someone who adapts values like clothing depending on the occasion, you can't. She simply can't be near him. And the worst part? The worst part isn't even the deceit itself. It's that you've already been deceived by it. You've already believed someone who spoke beautifully, who had an impeccable speech, who seemed to have values aligned with yours, and you trusted them. Because Virgos want to believe that people are what they say they are. They want to believe that words have value, that promises mean something, that when someone looks you in the eye and declares a principle, it's true. So you trust, and you open up, and you share, and you invest. And then you find out. You find out it was all theater, that it was a performance, that the person wasn't anything like what they said. And the betrayal you feel? It's not just about being deceived. It's about believing. It's about letting your guard down. It's about giving someone access to what is sacred to you based on their lies. And that's unforgivable, unforgiven, unrepeated. So now your radar is calibrated, super sensitive. And when you detect even the smell of deceit, even the slightest trace of hypocrisy, you leave, before even confirming. Because erring on the side of caution is better than erring on the side of caution. And you'd rather reject 10 genuine people by mistake than let in another hypocrite. But there's a deeper layer. Because it's not just about you being deceived. It's about what hypocrisy represents. It represents a lack of courage, a lack of backbone, a lack of commitment to truth. And those 3 things? They are the opposite of everything you are. You are courageous enough to be who you are even when it's difficult. You have enough backbone to uphold your values even when it costs you. You are committed to truth even when a lie would be more convenient. So when you find someone who has none of that, someone who changes with the wind, someone who sells their soul for approval, someone who pretends to be what they're not to get what they want, you don't see weakness, you see betrayal. Betrayal against yourself. And if the person betrays themselves, how can they not betray you? If they have no loyalty to their own values, how can they have loyalty to you? Impossible. So you don't wait to find out. You cut them off, clean them up, definitively, and you move on. Second type, the one who complains but doesn't act. The chronic victim. The one who has problems but refuses solutions. Who says they want to change but doesn't lift a finger. Who asks for advice and ignores you. Who asks for help and wastes it. Who says life is hard but does nothing to improve it. And you? You explode inside. Because it's not about having problems. Everyone has them. It's not about being in a difficult situation. Life is hard for everyone. It's about what you do with it. It's about whether you sit on the problem or get up and solve it. And when you find someone who chooses to sit, someone who makes suffering their identity, someone who collects excuses instead of solutions, you can't stand it. You can't. Because it goes against everything you believe in. You believe in personal responsibility, in agency, in the power to change your situation through effort. And when someone denies that, when someone acts as if they were a permanent victim of circumstance, as if they had no choice, as if they had no power, you see lies, you see cowardice, you see a waste of human potential, and it deeply irritates you. But it's not just irritation, is it? It's more than that. It's anger. Anger at seeing someone capable choosing incapacity, someone powerful choosing powerlessness, someone with options choosing prison. Because you know people who truly have no choice, who are truly trapped, who truly fight against impossible situations. And these people, they don't complain. They don't play the victim. They don't ask for pity. They just fight. Silently, heroically, without an audience. And you deeply respect that. But this type? This second type who has everything to change and doesn't? Who has a full hand of good cards and plays them badly? Who has opportunities and wastes them? While complaining that life is unfair? You have no patience. Zero. Because it's not about moral judgment. It's about basic physics. Wasted energy offends you. Unrealized potential hurts you. And worse? When this person comes to drain you, when they want you to solve their problems, when they want you to carry what they should be carrying, when they turn you into a crutch, a savior, their father or mother, you want to scream, "I am not your solution. You are your solution. I can give you the tools. I can show you the way. I can support you, but I can't walk the path for you." And you've already tried, haven't you? You were once that person who believed you could save someone, that if you gave the right information, the right support, the right push, the person would finally get up. And you did. Everything. Your time, your energy, your hope. And the person? They didn't change. They didn't improve. They didn't do anything different. They just kept complaining, with new excuses, new justifications, new reasons not to act. And you realized, it wasn't about needing help. It was about not wanting responsibility. It wasn't about not knowing what to do. It was about not wanting to do it. And when you realized that, something died. Not just the hope of helping that person, but the willingness to try again with anyone like that. Because you learned, some people don't want a solution. They want company in misery. And you? You're not company for misery. You're a catalyst for change. And those who don't want to change, they're not right for you. No matter how much you like them, no matter how much you care, no matter how much you want to help. If the person doesn't want real help, you leave. Because staying is drowning along with them. And you don't do that anymore. And there's a deep psychological layer here. Because when you see someone complaining but not acting, you don't just see laziness. You see something that scares you. You see the possibility of becoming that. You see a version of yourself that gave up, that surrendered, that stopped fighting. And it terrifies you. Because you know tiredness. You know exhaustion. You know the urge to give up. But you don't give up. You keep going. You always keep going. But what if one day you don't? What if one day you become that? Someone who sits on the problem instead of solving it. Someone who complains instead of building. Someone who gives up instead of persisting. So when you see that kind of person, You don't just see someone different from you. You see a possible future of yours that you reject with all your might. And the rejection is so strong because the fear is so deep. So you push it away, that person, that pattern, that possibility, far away from you. And when you do that, when you choose not to associate with them, it's not judgment, it's self-preservation. You are protecting the version of yourself that fights, that acts, that builds, and rejecting any influence that might normalize the opposite. Third type. And this one? This is the worst. The emotional manipulator, the one who uses guilt as a weapon, who distorts reality to make you feel wrong when you're right, who plays the victim when they're the aggressor, who makes you question your own perception, who leaves you confused about where you end and where they begin. And you? You hate this more than anything, more than hypocrisy, more than victimhood. Why? This violates your sense of reality. It violates your need for clarity. It destroys your confidence in your own judgment. And for you, who lives by analysis, who trusts in logic, who needs mental order to function, to have someone deliberately messing with your perception? It's torture. It's violation. It's an attack on your core. And when do you identify it? When do you realize that someone is playing psychological games with you? Something changes, right there, and it never goes back. Because you can forgive many things. You can forgive mistakes. You can forgive weakness. You can even forgive betrayal if it's honest. But manipulation? Calculated use of emotion to control you? Never. Never. Not in 1,000 lifetimes. And you know them, don't you? That person who cries when you try to set boundaries. When you try to distance yourself, they threaten. When you try to tell the truth, they twist it until you look like a monster. The one who makes you feel guilty for taking care of yourself, selfish for having needs, cruel for having boundaries. And in the beginning you believe them, because you don't want to be cruel. You don't want to be selfish. So you give in. You explain yourself. You justify yourself. And every time you do that, you lose a piece of yourself. You lose clarity. You lose confidence. You lose sight of what is reasonable to ask for, what is fair to expect, what is your right to have. And that person? They count on that. They count on you being too good to uphold boundaries when boundaries hurt them. That you are too empathetic to move on when moving on leaves them alone. That you are too responsible to let go when they say you are responsible for their well-being. And it works, for a while, until it doesn't work anymore, until you wake up and realize, wait, I'm not responsible for you. You are. I'm not cruel for having boundaries. Boundaries are healthy. I'm not selfish for taking care of myself. Self-care is necessary. And when do you realize this? When you see manipulation for what it is, you feel disgust. Disgust at having been used. Disgust at having been deceived. But worse? Disgust at yourself for allowing it. And then comes anger. Anger at the person who manipulated you. But even more anger at yourself for letting it happen. And you promise, never again. Never again will you let someone distort reality. Never again will you accept blame that isn't yours. Never again will you explain yourself to someone determined not to understand. Never again will you try to convince someone that your boundaries are valid. Because boundaries don't need justification. They don't need approval. They don't need understanding. They only need maintenance. And you? You will maintain them. No matter how much the person cries, no matter how much they threaten, no matter how much they paint you as the villain, you will maintain them. Because your sanity is worth more than their approval. Your peace is worth more than their comfort. Your integrity is worth more than her need to control you. And this third type? It's the most dangerous. Because you can identify the other two quickly. A hypocrite reveals themselves through inconsistency. A victim mentality reveals itself through inaction. But a manipulator? A manipulator is subtle. It's gradual. It's like poison that you don't feel until you're intoxicated. It starts small, with a reasonable request that you fulfill. And you fulfill it because you're helpful, you're useful, you're available. And then? The request becomes an expectation. The expectation becomes a demand. The demand becomes an obligation. And suddenly you're living a life you didn't choose, meeting a need that isn't yours, carrying a weight that doesn't belong to you. And you question it? You try to go back? Then comes guilt. Then comes blackmail. Then comes distortion of everything you did until it seems like you're ungrateful, that you're cruel, that you're abandoning them. And you're trapped. Because the way out seems to confirm everything they say. That you're selfish, that you don't care, that you never really loved or supported them. When the truth is the opposite. The truth is that you cared too much, supported too much, gave too much, and now it's empty, exhausted, resentful, and just wanting to escape. And when you finally run away, when you finally break up, you don't come back. You never come back. Because you learned. You learned that some people don't want a relationship. They want a hostage. They don't want a partner. They want a servant. They don't want love. They want control. And you don't fit into any of those roles. You're meant for a healthy partnership, for a balanced exchange, for a relationship where nobody loses themselves. And when you find someone who smells of manipulation, even a distant smell, you leave immediately, without explanation, without a second chance, without the benefit of the doubt. Because the benefit of the doubt with a manipulator, it's an open door to hell. And you don't go through hell again. Not for anyone. No matter how much they need you, no matter how much they suffer, no matter how much they swear they'll change. Because a manipulator doesn't change. They only change tactics. And you're out of the game. Permanently. So these are the three. Hypocrite, victim, manipulator. And if you notice, they all have something in common. They all violate truth. The hypocrite denies truth about themselves. The victim denies truth about their power. The manipulator denies truth about reality. And truth? Truth is sacred to you. It's the foundation. It's the ground. It's what keeps you sane. And when someone attacks that, when someone distorts, denies, manipulates truth, you can't coexist. You can't tolerate it. You can't pretend everything is okay. Because it's not, and it never will be. Not with these people. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much you want to be tolerant, no matter how much you want to be understanding, there's a limit. And these three types, they intersect, violently. So you don't hate many people. But these three? Yes. These are the ones you hate. And you have every right to. Because it's not about intolerance. It's about self-preservation. It's not about judgment. It's about protection. It's not about a lack of compassion. It's about an excess of experience. You've already tried with all three. You gave them a chance. You believed they could change. You got hurt trying to save, understand, tolerate. And you learned. Hard, painfully, but you learned. That there are people who don't deserve your space, your time, your energy. And you finally gave yourself permission to protect